Okay guys, today we're working on a 2006 Honda Pilot rear suspension, and it should apply to the 2003 Honda Pilot as well. New coil springs along with the rear shocks. I ordered all these parts from Rock Auto. Coil springs are a Moog brand, 81649, which is fits all the Generation 1 Honda Pilots. And the Gabriel shocks, you can see are part number G64003, and obviously you need two for the rear. All right, we have the front wheels chalked off. Whenever I pull a wheel off the car, I will put it on a flat surface, level surface, put the car in neutral, let it roll back onto the wheel chock, and then put it in park and hit your emergency brake. Got the rear wheel off already, and we have a jack stand underneath it for safety, also the regular jack as well. And then we have the tire underneath in case something happens, you're not going to get hurt. So we're going to start with removing the coil, the shock absorber, and then we'll move on to the coil spring and the bump stop. As you can see, there's nothing left of that bump stop. And we're also going to be messing with the camber on the car. There's a rear camber plate there, measurement plate. We're going to try to straighten it up a little bit. It's moved a little bit. When we're done, we're going to go have the rear end aligned just to be safe and make sure the tires wear evenly. We just got brand new tires on it, so we want to make sure they last. All right, we're starting to loosen up the top bolt. Takes a 17 millimeter socket. Bottom takes a 17 millimeter as well. All right, we're going to loosen up the bottom nut with the 17 millimeter socket as well. All right, now we're going to remove the shock from the car. So you can do this with one hand. you get the idea of it. It's hard to do with one hand, but easier obviously with two. And that's all there is to it to get that one shock off. All right, next step, we have to remove the end link. Depending on how old it is, you might have to use an Allen wrench to go in here, and then a regular wrench to undo it without turning the bolt. All right, we're going to relieve some of the pressure on the spring and the end link in order to get it out of the mounting bracket. So we put a jack underneath the lower control arm. We're going to jack it up a little bit to relieve some of that pressure, and this bolt should pop right out like it just about did there. And that's it. You're free. Just tuck it out of the way. Now we're going to remove the coil spring, and we're going to keep pressure on the coil spring so it doesn't pop down on us. We got to get this nut out, and then we're going to relieve the pressure, lower it down, and the spring will pop out. We got to remove the two 10mm bolts here so this will come out of the way and we won't rip the ABS line. All right, we're going to remove the ABS bracket bolts with a 10mm socket. All right, and freeze up that line. Now to get the nut off the lower control arm, it's the same as the shock 17mm socket. Okay, we're going to relieve a little bit of the tension so we can pull that bolt out. I'm going to reposition the jack underneath the lower control arm. I want it to be a little more hitting the lower control arm. All right, we repositioned the jack underneath the lower control arm, a little better spot. We got the ABS line held out of the way with a bungee cord. So we're going to take the lower control arm bolt out and okay. Now we're going to relieve the pressure on the spring. All right. There we go. Oop. Coil spring is out. We're going to reuse the top boot as a way to twist it in place. We got new bottom boots, but they're in pretty good shape. We're going to put them in anyways. And we're going to replace our bump stop here before we put the spring back in. Now we're going to replace the bump stop. Another 14mm socket gets the bolt out. I pre-loosened these before I started the video, but it was pretty simple to unscrew. It was not much effort at all. Like I said, a 14mm socket. So you can see there's nothing left of this bump stop compared to the new one. I got a Honda brand. They're pretty cheap. I think I got it directly from Honda. Okay, got a longer extension. I'm going to get the bolt started. All right, new bump stop installed. All right, we're gonna install the new lower spring plastic seating. The little indentations here are to go and so they won't cover up the drain holes for water. There's two little drain holes in the lower control arm. So it's got to be positioned so those drain holes are open. So the spring's going to pretty much go back in the same way. This part is going to be spacing almost straight back. We're going to remount the top rubber insulator, and it basically it'll just go in the same way it came out. You'll see a little groove in there where it's going to fit into. You could twist it into it. Hard to explain on the video, but if you get it in front of you, you're going to see where it's positioned. And the trick to that is holding it in place while you're installing it, because that's going to probably be a mission. So I'm going to mark with a magic marker where they need to be lined up as I'm pushing it up into place. That way you get it lined up a little better. All right, guys, I'm going to push the spring back up into place. It's going to be a mission. I don't know how long I'm going to film it for, because it's going to have to be positioned with two different mounting plates, the bottom and the top. I watched some guys do this online, and it just seemed to go right up into place. But I know it's going to be a battle. But basically, the bottom of the spring's got to face straight back. I marked on the springs where it's going to line up with the top bracket, top mounting rubber booty. I'm trying to get it back in the exact same spot, but as I can see, this is already going to be a little bit of a mission to fit it up in there. Yeah, just as I thought. This is where you want to make sure you have your jack stands in place, your tire and everything, so the car doesn't fall on top of you. All right, I'm going to wrestle with this. I'm going to turn the video off, work on getting it back in. All right, I had to actually lift the car up a little more, reposition the jack stand, because the spring is new, so it's going to be a little taller than the old one. And I'm going to try to pry it in with this pry bar. There you go. Now, the key is aligning up the top rubber boot with the bottom mount, and it looks like the holes are open. I just got to reposition the top rubber mount booty, whatever you want to call it, to go into place, and then I could bring this back up with the jack, put the bolt through and bolt it up. All right, guys, I'm still wrestling with getting that spring in. I had to use a few screwdrivers. I taped the top rubber mount to the mounting bracket on the car, fished it up in there, messed with the jack a few times, got the bottom into position. It was a tug of war, and I used a screwdriver to pull out the rubber top mount so the spring could fit in further towards the spare tire, going in towards the driver's side, passenger side. So it's a mission. I'm going back and forth with the jack. This is probably the only hard part of this job, is getting the spring back into the same place. You're just going to have to wrestle with it and try to get that top spring in the under that rubber boot in the proper spot. It's like I said, it's a mission to get it in there. But this is the only tough part, is getting the spring back in place. So I'm going to fiddle with it more, turn off the video. Hopefully next time it comes on, I got it in place. Make sure you keep your hands clear of that in case it pops out of that jack. I think I kind of wrecked this jack. Yeah, it might move on you. So just make sure you don't have your hands or feet in there. Trying to get this up to here so I can put the bolt in. And I think it's going to slip on me, but I'm going to see how far I can get it up. See if, yeah, there it goes. I'm going to see if it'll go up into place without slipping anymore. Make sure you keep your hands and feet away. This will come down a little bit, just enough to get that bolt that holds it in place. Putting the shock on and then remounting your end link is a piece of cake. Like I said, this is the only hard part, is get everything to line up. And we're getting there. Looks like it slipped into the right place. Another idea is to put some WD-40 or some grease where the spring rubs on that rubber top mount. That way you could, oh, there we go. That way it might be easier to slip in. All right, we're getting there. Almost there. I'm going to try not to hammer it in to wreck the threads. I'm going to try this route first. Alright, hopefully we didn't wreck the threads. I'm going to try tightening it. See if that'll work. Fingers crossed. Watch out for your ABS line. Yeah, it looks like it's going in okay. Got a little lazy. I'm going to use the Milwaukee tool to tighten it up. I think we got it. I think we're good. Okay, that's going to fall back down in place. All right, I'm going to relieve the pressure on it, see how it works. Yep, I think we're good. Now we just got to get the shock on, reinstall the end link. I'm going to have to jack it back up to get that in. But everything looks good. All right, we're jacking the lower control arm back up so we can get our end link in. And then after that, all we gotta do is install our shock and we should be good to go. Since the car is jacked up so much higher, you get that lower control arm to move downward so we get the spring in there. It's the reason why we have to jack this up so far. As you can see, the end link bolt is almost lined up. So we're going to install that, tighten that nut, and that should be good to go. Anyways, I would suggest watching a few more videos online about getting a spring in there. There might be a trick that I don't know about that makes it easier to get in. You know, so we're going to tighten this up, and the bolt is moving, so we're going to put that Allen wrench in there. And that way we could tighten this back up. Like I said, please keep your eye on that ABS line. You don't want to tear it or rip it. As well as this cover for the bleeder valve for the brake. Alright, you get the idea for that. I'm going to turn the video off and finish tightening it. Almost got it. All right, guys, just noticed my jack was a little bit out of place. My jack stand was a little bit out, so I stopped and I'm repositioning it. So the car has two resting spots. And pretty much got this tightened up. I think it's good to go. Yeah, she's good. Now we just got to put the ABS line back on, and then we'll move on to the shock absorber, which shouldn't be too hard. torque those up. All right, good to go. We're going to lower the jack, and we're going to start on the shocks here shortly. All right, we're lowering this jack. Get some pressure off of that. Let it sit where it should be. I think we're good. Everything looks like it's where it should be. Top of the spring looks good. Your water drain holes are open. The plastic piece is in place. Spring looks like where it should be. All right, guys, we got our spring in place. End link bolted back up. We got our ABS line bolted back in place. Now we're gonna put the shock absorber back in. And it's pretty hard to show on the video, but basically you're gonna put the bottom in first. You're gonna have to retract the spring a little bit. Again, it's another mission. You gotta wrestle with this thing. This one didn't, it's a Gabriel shock. It didn't come with a band in place, holding it in place. So I'm gonna have to probably try to compress it myself a little bit. I can't show you in the video, but I'm kind of compressing it to the top with the screwdriver and prying on the body of the car. There we go. All right, and then once it's compressed, just kind of line up the top. Have your bolt ready to go in there. And it looks like it's right in the right spot. It's just a matter of getting this bolt back up in the top. We're going to put the bottom in place just to make sure nothing pops out of place. All right, I'm going to use my jack again to lift the shock up into place. As you can see, I got a little ways to go to get my bolt back into place. So I'm going to lift up the bottom. Lift up the bottom with the jack again, and we're going to lift it up so that bolt is right in place. Or the hole lines up. All right, we're going to use our jack. It's on the bottom of the lower control arm. We're going to jack it up to get the hole to line up. You can see where it's starting to move into place. The shock is very easy. It takes a matter of a few minutes just to install it. It's just getting everything to line up. And it's a 17mm bolt again. And all we got to torque that down, torque down the bottom bolt. You see where I got the jack underneath the lower control arm, raise it up into place. So that's pretty much it. We're just going to tighten those two nuts, one bolt, one nut, and we're good with the we're good with the shock absorber. All right, guys, we got everything installed. Got the shock tightened up, mounted in the right place. You can see we got the end link put back in place. We got the ABS line hooked up back in place. The only hard part was getting that spring into place. That was a little bit of a mission. But other than that, it's pretty easy to do. I'm doing this on a Saturday night. With filming, it took a couple hours. Pretty straightforward. You can see the new bump stop in there. And this should help the suspension on the car. Should ride like new. Now I just got to get it aligned properly. We had trouble a few years ago with the tires on the inside wearing unevenly. We actually had a blowout. Online, Honda says that the camber's not adjustable, but as you can clearly see, there's a camber setting thing in there in place. I don't know if the tire store installed it or if that's factory. I'm not too sure, but it's a little bit out of alignment. The tires are going kind of pointing inward. Their top is going a little further in than it should be. So I'm going to get that over to the tire shop and have it do a proper alignment. Other than that, pretty easy to do. Just make sure you have your rear end resting at least 2 different spots, a jack and a jack stand. You don't want the car falling on you because it does move around when you're messing with that spring. So you got to be very careful of that. But everything looks like it's in place. I switched from Monroe to the different brand of shocks because I had trouble with my front struts. They would only last about a year or two. So I'm went with Gabrielle on this time. So anyways, check out a few videos and you might get a little more advice on how to install that spring, because it was a little bit tricky, but we got it in. Sorry, these shocks are pronounced incorrectly. It's Gabrielle is the shock brand I went with. Like I said, bought on rockauto.com. Or you can see passenger side's up a little higher than the driver's side because we just installed those new springs. Same thing happened with the driver's side. It settled down after like a day. So I'll take another video afterwards, but it should settle down after a test drive.